There are members of my blood family for whom I care a great deal. There are others with whom I have no known biological relationship for whom I care every bit as much, maybe more, in some instances. On both sides of that same aisle are people for whom I wouldn't do more than I would for a perfect stranger. You might be surprised, mind you, to find out just how much I might be willing to do for a perfect stranger, but the point is, those people are, many of them, family or not, a lot of them are just people I wouldn't do more for than somebody who was a perfect stranger. Hello, this is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Monday, the 11th of January of 2021. I may be on a roll. I may do this twice in a row. Get the date right. Welcome aboard to everybody who's coming in on Rumble, on the podcast, and on YouTube. Thank you for coming to visit with me today. The subject of today's Daily Summation is family. And I want to start out by talking about probably one of the most important members of my family, my son. I've talked about him before. He's moderately autistic. He's a great kid, and I'm very happy to have him in my life and count him as a part of my family. Maybe at some point he won't be so happy to count me so, but I count him so. And here's the thing. Except for the love that I have for him, there's really nothing else other than biology that binds us together. But I love him very much. And as such, I am careful to be very careful with and when dealing with and for him. Right? And that's reality. That's the truth. That's just how it is. So it's important to realize that there are times when family needs nothing more than that really tight bind where people realize that they need one another. So I need him, and I hope right now he needs me. That may not remain that way, but for right now, that's how it is. My older kids are pretty much out on their own, and I'm not saying that they have absolutely no need of me, but for the most part, I'm really a needless thing to them, something that they deal with when they feel like it or they want to. That's pretty much how that works. I had a part of my actual family, though, recently, somebody in the family tree recently say I would cease to be a friend on social media were I not family. And I have to tell you that you can forgive me, but you don't have to. But if you feel that's true, you probably should just do both of us a favor and drop me now. If I mean so little to you that the only reason that it matters to you that I am your friend on social media or wherever is that I happen to be a family member, then maybe it's not worth maintaining that relationship. It sure doesn't seem like it to me. Frankly, I personally do not largely believe family is about blood, as we're wont to be told and believe. Who isn't really told that as a kid? Blood is thicker than water. Yeah, that's a really lovely idea. But really, family is those about whom we care and who care for us. That is what family is. Family is not really those people who we happen to be born in biology with, right? I love my mom, still around, last I heard. Haven't had a chance to speak with her in a while, but I love my mom. I love my dad. I love my dad, even though my dad has passed on. He's my dad, and I love him. I love my brothers and sisters, though a couple of them I know we have a very strained relationship. I know that's true. Still love them. But let me just tell you something. Family is really more about those for whom you care. I have a second mother, you could argue, a lady who I've known now for 20-something years. And she really is, to me, a second mother. I haven't seen her in a long time for a variety of reasons, and I really would love to be able to do that again, see her again in better circumstances, and hopefully that's something that's coming along down the road. But that lady is family to me, and my son calls her grandma, and there's a good reason for that. It's because out of everybody he's ever known, she's really the best grandma he's ever had. in every way that I can imagine. He's the best grandma that she's ever had. By the way, you might hear him making a little noise in the background. I've told him to keep it quiet, but he may not do that, and that's just going to have to be okay. So if you hear a little noise, you'll know what's going on there. That's my boy, and just know Daddy loves his boy. That's a sure thing. But the thing about it is this. For Christians, the people you count as family, in my mind, should be fellow believers in Christ. Okay? And pretty much everybody I count family qualifies in that regard even if they do qualify in terms of blood. There are a couple of exceptions to that who are family who are not Christians. And for them, I pray daily and hope that they learn what I know or what I believe. Let's go from know to believe so that people can't pick on that as a thing that they can say. That having been said, for others, it should mean at least those you can trust and with whom you believe in some fashion. Okay? So, in other words, if you're not a Christian, then probably at least you should be able to trust the people you count as family, and hopefully you can hold something in common with them. I'll tell you this, though, and this is a true thing about family. My family, certain parts of my family may think that I have not been civil with them. If they knew how understanding, how willing to accept them regardless their faults they actually were, they would be surprised. But for you to not even be able to be civil and try to act like that person with whom you cannot be civil as family, that's more than a little bit disingenuous. The reality is, though, and this is an important thing, family isn't blood. It took me years to really understand that. I'm not saying none of my blood family do I consider family. But I'm saying what matters, what counts, what's real is that those people who have cared for me, who have looked after me, who I have cared for, who I've looked after, they are family. My children are all my family, and they're not my family because of blood, even though they are my family mostly because of blood. One of them has no blood relation to me directly. She has a blood relation to my son, to her mom, who was my wife, but she doesn't have a blood relation to me in any regard. Still, she's family, and she's family because for a long time it was my job to look after her, and to the degree that I'm able to do so, still that's the case. Yes, she's grown now, so she's kind of out doing her own thing, and I'm not trying to say she's not, and she's probably doing okay with that. I can't really answer. And quite frankly, I don't know that she even really very much considers me family these days. I think she sort of tries, but I don't think that's an easy thing for her to deal with. But my point is this. Family just plain isn't only about blood. And they say blood is thicker than water, and that's lovely, but let me just tell you something. Some of my most important family ever do you understand, is not people who are blood to me. And here's the thing. That means that there are people out there who have in-laws that they like better than their own parents, their own siblings. I'm not really in that boat these days. Some of them I can sort of say that about, but that's not really largely true. But it's not to say that it's not possible. It's just to say that it's not really true in my particular instance. There's every reason to say that some people have every bit as much right to count in-laws as family as any blood relative they've ever had or dealt with. Okay? And that's because family isn't just about blood. It's about people who look after, who take care of, and who deal with others regardless their disagreements and the faults of those others. That's what family is. If you can't do those things, you're probably not family to people you think you're family to. You're probably just not. Okay? No matter what you say. That doesn't mean you can't develop that relationship with people, but I promise you that unless you're willing to develop it, you don't have it. All right, I'm coming to the end of my time, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. You understand, I'm pretty sure, what I'm trying to say. Don't let yourself be sold into the idea that family is about blood. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes that's true, but lots of times it's really not. Okay, today is, as I say, Monday, the 11th of January of 2021. Tomorrow will be Tuesday, the 12th of January of 2021, even though my little notes here say Friday, where I didn't fix that particular part. It will be Tuesday, the 12th of January of 2021. Glad to have had you aboard today. Glad to have had people from Rumble, from the podcast, and from YouTube. Hopefully we will see you when I do my next Daily Summation. That should be coming right up tomorrow, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Monday, the 11th of January of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.